All right, let me ask you about the rookie on the outside because this is what you wrote in the pre-show notes. As excited as I was about Quinyon on Friday post game, the tape was better than that. How? Why?
So, he was targeted a bunch in the game, right? So, and it was he was targeted as much as anybody over the course of week one. I think he finished in like the top 10 of DB targets. And I think when you look at Mitch, so those were the plays that on the broadcast we were able to see. We saw the first third down, the throw to Christian Watson. We saw them go. We talked about that intermediate route that he was able to break up in the second quarter. To me, there were more of those shots that were taken in his direction where he deterred the throw because he saw it coming and was able to jump the route and force the check down. And so, though when you factor in the competitiveness and the speed and the lack of panic and all of those things that we saw on the plays where he was targeted, and then you factor that in with what we saw on the where he wasn't even targeted, that's what got me more excited because, man, like, all right, it's more than what we even saw on Friday. And that's one of the things that's great about being able to go back and just watch that tape from an angle is being able to take in some of that stuff that you don't see from the tighter broadcast TV angles. And so, Quinyon Mitchell, I was very, very not surprised, but excited by what I saw from a guy making his first start. Because honestly, I went back and I watched the film from Sunday Night Football, the Lions and the Rams, and Terrion Arnold was targeted a bunch by the Rams and by Matthew Stafford. He struggled. He did not have the same quality game that Quinyon Mitchell had. And those guys are going to be compared a lot often, moving forward, just because they were drafted in the same area. And the Eagles obviously had their choice. And through 1 week, I would give certainly the advantage to Quinyon Mitchell.
And so then to stay on Mitchell, but to kind of open it up a bit too, Avonte Maddox, I don't want to say, well, the term might be liability, but he did not play well based on my viewing. I'll defer to you. Quinyon Mitchell, like you said, played really well. As you study this and as you analyze this, do you think Quinyon should stay on the outside? Do you think when Isaiah Rodgers is back or even Keely Ringo, do you think they should move Quinyon to the inside to get the best three out there? How do you see Avonte's performance and Quinyon going forward?
I think the big thing with a lot of the catches that Avonte gave up, he was slipping and sliding. The first third down of the game where he was not the first third down conversion by the Packers, I should say, where he was targeted on that out route. It was at the bottom of the screen as we were watching on TV. Avonte fell at the top of the break. The pass interference penalty, he's slipping and sliding, and that's why he grabbed, right? So there were just a handful of plays where he clearly just did not, and I don't know if he was changing his shoes or not, or if he was just trying, I don't know what changes and adjustments he was making, but they were not working for him. He was struggling to stay with both feet on the ground throughout the course of the night. So he would be a player where I'd say you're expecting that to look a little bit better moving forward. As far as the second part of your question, though, Zach, I think that for me, the long-term plan for Quinyon Mitchell is that he's an outside corner. Vic Fangio said that as they were making the switch to him playing on the inside during training camp. I think the bigger thing would be how fast are you able to get Cooper DeJean up to speed, and how quickly are you going to be able to insert him into the lineup? Are you chalking this Avonte Maddox performance up to the playing surface? I don't know how the coaches think about that, obviously, but I think it's more likely that we would see Cooper DeJean elevated as opposed to Quinyon shifted inside.
I think that makes sense. And we won't get into the Falcons just yet. We'll get deeper into them on Thursday when you're back, Fran. But they played, I think, the second most percentage of 12 personnel snaps in the league in week one. So you're not going to be in nickel quite as much. They were just under 50%. So I think you can probably allow for one more game at least of trying Avonte on the inside, seeing if the footing makes a difference, seeing if they're actually really going out of their way to target him, and letting whether that's Isaiah Rodgers rest for another week or Cooper DeJean ramp up for another week. I think that probably makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would have envisioned that that's the way they kind of go about it. You mentioned the struggles Atlanta had offensively. It's not like you're welcoming in this 11 personnel monster, from a pass game standpoint. Link now Monday. So I think they can kind of take their chances in terms of just letting this play out for one more week and just seeing what they have with Quinyon on the outside. To me personally, I would just keep him there, but they might have a better feel for it.
We all silly like the mayor.